guys. Thanks for being on time. That's a good start to a new job. Welcome to Legends. Follow me. Okay, settle down. Okay, welcome to Legends. My name is Luciana de la Pia. This is my restaurant. It has taken me 10 years of hard work to get it like this. I'm very proud of this place, and I hope you'll feel the same. In this place, we make money by cooking things, and to cook things, you need fire, and for fire, you need gas. I need you to understand that you're going to be working with some very flammable stuff, and if you yourselves are not working with it, your colleagues will be. In my restaurant, safety is 100% of our behavior, 100% of the time. And that is why we will provide you with a proper training in terms of using LP gas. So stick to the rules, work hard, and I'll reward you. It's simple to me. If you don't stick to the rules, you risk endangering your colleagues and yourself. So do you have any questions? Over to you then, OJ. They're all yours.
Thanks, Luciana. Good morning, everybody. As Luciana said, I'm here from Afrox, and I'm here to tell you about liquid petroleum gas, LPG for short. At Afrox, we call it Handigas. Now, guys, I've got a big block of information to get through. So we're going to chip away at it slowly, and before you know it, you're going to know everything there is to know about handling gas in a restaurant situation. So, without any further ado, let's open up our manuals on page 1. You will soon come into contact with the use of LP gas in this restaurant. You might even have to work with the gas yourself. Therefore, you'll need to have a basic knowledge of gas and gas equipment. This DVD is aimed at providing you with the correct knowledge. Afrox has divided this training into 6 sessions. In session 1, we will tell you where and how you'll be working with Handigas. In session 2, we will tell you what Handigas is and where it comes from. In session 3, we will explain the gas cylinders and the other gas equipment that is used in the restaurant. In session 4, we will tell you all about the dangers of Handigas. In session 5, we will show you how to use LP gas safely in the restaurant. And in the last session, session 6, we're going to teach you what to do in an emergency situation. Okay, guys, let's jump right in. Now guys, you might be working in other parts of the restaurant, but for the purpose of the gas, we're going to be concentrating mainly on the kitchen area. Now you might also be required to work outside. Why outside? Well, I'll tell you later. In the kitchen, Handigas is used in the grillers, flat tops, multi-burner appliances, water heaters, salamanders, and oil cookers. LP gas is also used in the fireplaces in the restaurant and in the heaters on the patio outside the restaurant. Depending on your job, you might have to work directly with the gas appliances. But even if you don't have to operate the gas appliances, it's still your job to make sure that where the gas is kept is clean, secure, and safe.
Yes, we all need to take ownership and accept responsibility on a daily basis. Once you've finished working on a griller or anything else, please clean it properly. Clean gas equipment is safe and reliable.
Yeah. Now, greasy gas equipment can cause an uncontrolled fire. Now, if you have to clean the gas equipment, don't think of it as cleaning up someone else's mess, but rather in creating an environment that is safe for you and your colleagues to work in. Now, there are 2 main scenarios for the gas supply system in a restaurant. The first possibility is where gas is stored in bulk in large vessels somewhere on the premises. The gas is supplied to the restaurant via a single supply pipe. The pipe is routed safely and out of sight to avoid possible accidents and unauthorized tampering. And it is secured firmly to the wall to ensure complete safety. And the second possibility is where the gas supplied to the restaurant comes from cylinders outside of the restaurant. The cylinders are configured in 2 separate banks or groups, one bank acting as a backup for the other. By law, these cylinders must be put in a lockable, well-ventilated enclosure for safety reasons to prevent LP gas buildup and to avoid unauthorized handling, tampering, or theft. The enclosure must be clearly marked with all the proper signage required by law. Obviously, no smoking. We're working with gas here. no cell phones, no unnecessary loitering around, no open flames. Okay guys, that wraps up the theory. Let's go walking. Right guys, remember that picture I showed you about the gas supply system and the two banks of cylinders and the locked enclosed area? Ah, well, ta-da! This is it. So what's the first thing you notice when you arrive? Well, obviously the signs on the outside of the enclosure. Obviously no smoking. We're working with gas here. No cell phones, no unnecessary loitering around, and over there, no open flames. Over here, this tells you what to do in case of an emergency, in case you forget, and it's also got that number on it, 0860-020202, in case you forget, because you might if there's an emergency, okay. So next thing we notice about the enclosure is that it's what? It's locked. That means that it's safe for us to enter. There's been no unlawful tampering with any of the gas cylinders whatsoever. So we can safely open it, like that. Dick, if you hold on to that for me. And don't forget, before we enter the enclosure, what do? Our safety equipment is always on. So we wear our safety gloves, our safety glasses, and of course, our safety shoes. Right, so now we can open up the enclosure. If you have a look inside, you can see the left bank of cylinders over there, and you can see the right bank of cylinders over there. In the middle is that picture I showed you. That's what the changeover valve looks like. Now at the moment, the changeover valve is facing in the right-hand direction. That means we're using the right bank of cylinders, okay? Underneath that, you can see the pressure regulator. Guys, don't touch or tamper with this. Rather leave it to the professionals, okay? You can also have a look over here on the cylinder. We've got the flexi hose, or the pigtail hose, with the coupling, okay? And there's the cylinder valve. If you have a look at the bottom of the cylinder over here, that's the foot ring, and that ensures that the cylinder is always safely planted on the ground. Have a look at these steel pipes, firmly anchored to the wall, okay? And now guys, sometimes the gas supply in a restaurant might come from a large bulk vessel somewhere in the building complex. That means the gas supply comes from a single pipe. But if you have a look over here at our enclosure, it's clearly not the case. Is that all clear? Right, so we leave the enclosure, we make sure that it's clean and clear, and most importantly, we lock the gate behind us. Most important thing. Okay, right guys, let's get back in the restaurant.
OJ has asked me to show you the main gas shut-off valve. This is very simple, but is very, very important. All of the gas for the kitchen is come through this one main gas valve. And all the fire in the kitchen is killed here, one shot. It's shut off in case of emergency. For that, we must keep a clear and open the space around this valve. When the fire comes, we need to get to this valve easy, okay? So, this one main gas shut-off valve is open. The lever is parallel to the pipe. So, this one main gas shut-off valve is closed, 90 degrees to the pipe. No, stove is not work, heater is not work, and the gas stay out of the kitchen. Now this main valve is open. The Handigas come back in the kitchen. So, every day at the end of the work, we close the valve. First thing in the morning, we open. In case of emergency, we shut it.
Well said, Sergio. Now, Sergio said there are several main reasons to turn the shut-off valve on and off at this point during the day. But to underline one of the main things that he said is that during an emergency situation, this shut-off valve must be closed, and it runs at 90 degrees to the pipe. Now, you can also read more details about this in the manuals. If we had the alternative gas supply system where gas is supplied from a central bulk container, we would have had the same main shut-off valve, and just before the valve, we would have had a gas consumption meter. Now, if you have a look over here, this is a gas meter. It works much like the meters we have in our houses that measure our water and our lights. And just like here, it measures the gas consumption of the restaurant each month for billing purposes.
So OJ, he asked me to talk to you about griller also. Okay, so the Handigas arrive to the griller with this pipe here. But also Handigas arrive to griller with this one soft pipe. You see, right. Now this one, she needs to be able to move the stove for cleaning behind. It's easy. We move the stove, we clean easy, easy. We move stove too much, we break this pipe. Also very important, this pipe must always to stay behind the stove. This pipe is stay like this. It make a big problem for fall down. Ah!
I think what Sergio is trying to say is if the soft flex hose is protruding into a walkway, it becomes a bit of a trip hazard. Also, we need to regularly check this for damage, and if it does need to be replaced, replace it immediately because it's actually quite a weak link in the gas supply system.
He fall down here by this one stove, make a big fireball. So be very careful with this one pipe. If you see problem here, you go straight to the boss, to Il Capo. Capiche?
Capiche? Capiche? Capiche.
Capiche.
So guys, I'd like you to move to your griller in your restaurant right now. Now the whole point of this is for you to be able to smell the gas as it comes out of the griller. So if you guys want to lean forward and smell there, don't worry, the gas is not poisonous, so you can smell it. And also, when you're smelling it, listen for the faint hissing sound as it comes out the griller. Can you smell? See? I try and memorize that smell. It's vitally important if we're going to detect gas leaks within the restaurant. Yep. It's very, very important, guys, to remember what that smells like so we can detect leaks as and when they happen in the restaurant. Now, another thing is you can refer to your manuals and see what an incorrectly set flame and a correctly set flame looks like as well.
Correct lighting procedure for gas appliance. With lighter in hand, open the cooker gas valve. Hold the lighter to the burner. The flame will light up. Set the flame so that it burns correctly. If you have a problem with the quality of your flame, contact the appliance supplier. When finished cooking, shut the cooker gas valve and listen for a hissing sound to ensure that the gas flow has stopped. Refer to your manual for appliance with automatic light up.
Also, you can refer to your manuals on how to use soapy water to detect gas leaks, or you can also use the Safe Test product provided by Afrox. Guys, it's very important to remember that all the gas and safety instructions that you've learned here in the restaurant, they apply at home as well, because we use LP gas at home too. Yeah? So all the stuff that we've learned on how to handle gas and how not to handle gas, they apply at home too. See?
Brillianto, brillianto.
Thank you.
Let us quickly reflect on session 1 by answering the following questions. Question 1. Where would you find the main gas shut-off valve?
The main shut-off valve will be inside the kitchen area where the main gas supply enters the restaurant.
How can you tell if an LP gas flame is burning correctly?
The gas will burn with a soft blue flame and there will be no smoke. If the flame is not burning correctly, it will have an orange color or sometimes with black smoke.
How would you know if there is a gas leak?
A gas leak is best detected by the smell of the leaking gas. The smell will be the strongest right at the leak. We can spray the special Afrox leak detector solution or just a soapy solution onto the suspected leak and check for bubbles. Also, when I suspect a gas leak, I will report it to my manager immediately.
Why must LP gas cylinders be kept in a well-ventilated, locked enclosure?
The cylinders are kept in a well-ventilated locked enclosure for safety reasons, to prevent LP gas buildup and to avoid unauthorized handling, tampering, or theft.
What is the purpose of the gas consumption meter?
The gas consumption meter forms part of a system where gas is supplied to the restaurant from a central bulk vessel via a supply pipe. The meter measures the amount of gas that the restaurant uses per month for billing purposes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Correct.
Yes. Okay guys, so LP gas. It's the gas we use in lighting, heating, cooking, as well as some industrial uses. Now, as I said earlier, LPG stands for liquefied petroleum gas. Think of the word petrol. Petroleum, it's the same thing. The brand name that Afrox uses for LPG is Handigas, and that's about a 50-50 mixture of butane gas and propane gas. Now, pure LPG has got no smell. So when we make it, we add a chemical to it in order to give it a strong smell so that we can smell it. Why? Because it's highly flammable and it needs to be used in a very controlled way. At huge oil rigs, holes are drilled deep into the earth to reach the fossil oil that nature has made. The oil is pumped up, firstly to the surface and then to large containers through pipelines. Most oil drilling is done on land, but there are many oil rigs out at sea as well, drilling into the ocean floor. The oil is transported to oil refineries in overland pipelines or in huge ocean-going oil tankers. In oil refineries, the raw oil is processed to make various products like the petrol we use in our cars, lubricating oil, and many other products, including LP gas, also called Handigas. From the refineries, LP gas is transported as a liquid via rail tankers and road tankers to the gas depots. At the depot, it is pumped into the various cylinders we see and use in the environment. So guys, LP gas is stored in strong steel cylinders just like this one, and they're designed in such a way to withstand the gas pressure, right? And via the cylinder valve and the pressure regulators, we can control the flow of gas in a safe way. Because LP gas is so highly flammable, it is mainly used for cooking, lighting, and heating. It also has many other industrial uses like gas welding and heat treatment. LP gas is a fossil fuel created by nature, and it just has the natural quality of being highly flammable. But in its natural state, it isn't highly flammable. It needs the oxygen in the air around it in order to burn.
Let us quickly review session 2. Can you remember the journey of LP gas before it ends up in the steak griller?
At huge oil rigs, holes are drilled deep into the earth to reach the fossil oil that nature has made. The oil is pumped up, firstly to the surface, and then to large containers through pipelines. The oil is transported to oil refineries. Oil is processed to make various products like petrol we use in our cars, lubricating oil, and other products, including LP gas. At Afrox, we call it Handigas. From the refinery, it is transported by road or rail tankers to depots. At the depots, it is pumped into cylinders we use at the restaurant.
Why can we smell LP gas?
During the process of manufacture, it is mixed with a strong chemical to give it a distinct smell.
Why does a gas cylinder have a valve?
When you open it, the gas flows out, and when you close it, the gas is shut off.
Can you name the 3 main uses of LP gas and why it is used for that?
Cooking, lighting, heating. It is used because it is highly flammable.
Can you give the reason why the gas inside the supply hose and cylinder does not ignite in spite of it being so highly flammable?
LP gas needs oxygen to burn. There is no oxygen or air present in the pipe or cylinder.
So, in this session, we're going to look at each item in the gas system in detail. So guys, this here is a 9 kilogram gas cylinder. As you can see on the screen over here, that's the 9 kilo. It also comes in a 19 kilo variation and also a 48 kilo variation, which is just like the ones we use here in the restaurant. Now, that 48 kilos refers to the gas weight. So when we fill it, it actually weighs between 95 and 100 kilos. So it's pretty heavy, huh? At the top, you can see the cylinder valve with its strong valve guard to protect it from damage. Down here, you can see the base or foot ring. The cylinder actually has a dome shape at the bottom. The foot ring allows the cylinder to stand up straight and firmly. Now this is a black pigtail flex hose, and it's made of exactly the right material so that when the LP gas flows through it, which is a petroleum-based product, it doesn't damage the inside of this pipe.
Never to damage this one pipe. The Handigas, she crawl out very easy.
Sergio, you have a very unique way of saying things, but I know the message is very clear. Wouldn't you agree, guys? Now, if you have a look in your manuals, you'll see a picture there of brass coupling. This is the brass coupling here. The most important thing to note is this black O-ring over here. Now, that's the seal, and that actually prevents the gas from leaking out. So it's really important when you have a look at it to make sure that it's not damaged and that we never over-tighten it. There's also some examples of some piping inside your manuals over there, okay? Now, this is your typical pressure regulator, and its function is to reduce the pressure as it comes out of the gas cylinder and into the gas appliance that it is supplying, okay? Now, earlier we also had a look at the gas consumption meter. The gas consumption meter works exactly the same as the meters we have in our homes to measure our water and our lights. Its function is to measure the flow of gas through the system. Can anyone hazard a guess as to why that is?
Well, you mentioned the water and lights meter. Obviously, the restaurant pays for the gas.
Yep.
Obviously, some gas bill guy comes along now and again, reads it.
That's exactly right, Tom. The gas consumption meter, it measures the amount of gas that goes through the system, and therefore the restaurant can be billed accordingly. Now we've also got the shut-off valves, which we referred to earlier. Now the shut-off valves in this restaurant, they have two main functions. The first function is for when we turn the gas off at the end of the day, and the second function is to turn the gas off in the case of an emergency. And it's very important that that shut-off valve is clearly marked and is accessible for you guys in case that event occurs. The last thing I need to show you is the protective clothing that you have to wear in the restaurant when working with the gas. So we've got these protective glasses, protective shoes, and these protective gloves. Guys, have a look in your manuals. There's also some photographs in there. It's very, very important for you guys to know what these are, to use them. They're there for your protection when handling gas within the restaurant.
Let us quickly review session 3. What is the purpose of the rubber O-ring in a flex hose coupling?
It is the part that actually forms the seal. We should never over-tighten the valve or damage the O-ring seal.
Why must we use the right type of hose for LP gas?
LP gas is a petroleum product and will chemically damage other types of flexible pipe.
Where would you look for the shut-off valve?
In the kitchen area where the gas supply enters the kitchen.
What are the two things you must remember about the main shut-off valve?
It is used for emergency shut-off of the gas. The last person leaving the restaurant at night should always close the valve. It should always be kept clear, visible, and accessible.
What is the purpose of the gas meter?
To measure the gas consumption of the restaurant for billing purposes.
Why would a pair of steel-tipped boots be necessary when working with gas equipment?
A large steel cylinder will crush your bones if it falls over on your foot.
So, the LP gas contained inside this cylinder, it's perfectly safe. But you must remember that the pressure inside this steel cylinder is up to 3 times more than that of a car tire. So, the LP gas as well is also highly flammable. Therefore, if used incorrectly, these steel cylinders can potentially be very dangerous. Also guys, there are some never and always rules inside those guidebooks. Please read them and stick to them.
Never rules. Never transport cylinders stacked or lying down. Never drop or roll cylinders. Never expose cylinders to heat. Never allow cylinders to overhang off the side of a transporting vehicle. Never open the valve if the cylinder is not upright. Never leave the cylinder valve open. Always rules. Always stand cylinders upright on a firm, flat surface. Always store in a well-ventilated, clean and secure enclosure. Always report leaks to your manager immediately. Always ensure that cylinders are secure when being transported. Always obey safety signs. Always ensure that filled cylinders are fitted with the authentic Afrox red seal.
Now these gas cylinders, they've been designed and manufactured in such a way as to make them safe and easy to use. It's important not to damage, alter or tamper with them in any way and keep them away from a heat source so as to make them as safe as possible. Now guys, if you have a look in your manuals, you'll see some pictures of some damaged or altered gas cylinders. Make sure you can identify them and always, always be on the lookout for them. LP gas is a petroleum product and therefore contains natural solvents. So if you use rubber or plastic hoses that are not the prescribed LP gas hoses, it can eat away the rubber inside and make them very dangerous.
But I thought you could use any kind of pipe. I mean, you know, that pipe that you're using over there is very expensive. Wouldn't a good quality hosepipe work?
And whilst on the outside it might look 100% fine, but on the inside it might be half eaten away and be a very, very dangerous potential fire hazard. Now guys, LP gas, it's not poisonous. But if you breathe in lots of it, the worst that could happen is you might get a headache. But it can kill you. And this is why. Lots of LP gas in a room denotes a lack of oxygen, and it's the lack of oxygen that could kill you and not the LP gas itself.
So the gas won't kill you, but you'll just simply suffocate from the lack of oxygen.
That's exactly right, Tom. Okay, guys, we're almost wrapped up. I've got one more hazard to tell you about. Now, LP gas is heavier than air. So, if there's a leak in, say, the kitchen, the LP gas will sink to the bottom and occupy the lower areas of the kitchen. It behaves exactly like water. The lowest place in the kitchen could very possibly be the wastewater drain. The gas would flow down the drain pipe exactly like water. It might flow down the sewage pipe for hundreds of meters. A spark or a burning match thrown into the gutter could easily ignite an intense fire far away from the leaking gas appliance. So guys, what you all need to realize is that you have a responsibility to handle these gas cylinders with care and always be on the lookout for gas leaks. And what do we do if we suspect a leak?
Report it to the manager immediately.
Well done, guys.
Let us quickly review session 4. Why can't we use cheaper pipes like a garden hose for LP gas?
LP gas is a petroleum product and will damage other types of pipe other than the correct recommended pipe.
Why could LP gas kill you if you breathe too much of it, even though it is not poisonous?
The presence of LP gas means the absence of oxygen. Death is therefore caused by suffocation, not by poisoning.
Why is it possible that LP gas could ignite hundreds of meters away from the place where the actual gas leak is?
LP gas is heavier than air. When leaking out in the kitchen, it will sink to the lowest point, which will most probably be the drain pipe. It could then easily flow down the sewage system and cause a potential fire hazard wherever it is able to mix with enough oxygen again, and that could be hundreds of meters away.
Okay, guys, I'm really looking forward to this session because now we're going to get our hands dirty and I'm going to show you how to change an empty gas cylinder. So, we've approached the enclosure. What's the first thing we notice?
The lock's still on.
That's brilliant. Well done, Dick. Well observed. The lock's still on. That means no one's been inside and tampered with the gas cylinders that we know of. Okay, so we can open up the lock like so. If you'll want that for me. Now what's the next thing? We always remember, if we're going to handle the gas cylinders, we need to have our safety equipment on. So we've got our safety gloves, we've got our safety glasses, and of course we've got our safety shoes on, right? So we enter the enclosure, have a look at the gauge over here, we can see that it's at 0. So therefore there's no gas supply happening whatsoever. We have a look at the changeover valve, it's pointing to the right. That means that our right bank is empty, okay? And from what they told us in the kitchen, that there's no gas going through the grillers, so we know for a fact that there's no gas in the right bank. We close all cylinder valves on this right bank. We do that so we make sure that when we uncouple them, that there's no extra gas that comes out, okay? Now, the next thing we do is we take this changeover valve. This changeover valve is pointing in the right direction. That means we're using the right-hand bank of cylinders. And we move it over to the left. Why do you think we do that?
To cut off the gas supply from where we want to work. There could still possibly be some gas left in the pipes in the kitchen, and if we just take the coupler off, the gas would flow out.
That's exactly it. So we've moved the changeover from that side to this side. So what we've done is we've automatically cut off the gas supply to the side that we're going to be working on. Okay. Then what we do is we uncouple it, uncouple the thread, and don't forget, we always turn it clockwise to uncouple it. We make sure that this flex hose is placed in a safe position, that it's not dangling, doesn't get damaged, and doesn't cause a danger to you. Now all we need to do is tilt the cylinder back like this, and we roll it out into the position where we're going to store the empty gas cylinder. Before we place it down, we make sure that the foot ring is safely secure on the ground and the cylinder is safe and secure. And then we've created a space to bring our new cylinder into. Okay guys, so securing and connecting a full cylinder is almost the exact opposite of the scenario we just described. Now at this point, you'll definitely have your safety gloves on, your safety goggles, and your safety shoes. Here we've got our full cylinder, so what do? Tilt the cylinder towards us and roll it into position like that, okay? Before you let it go, make sure that it's safely secure on the ground You have a look at the foot ring, you see that's firmly placed on the ground like that, okay? Then you have a look at the top here, you see this red seal. Now this red seal means that this is a full cylinder and it's been filled by an authorized Afrox agent, okay? We remove it like this. If you have a look at this, it's clearly got Afrox on it. There are a lot of these fake things going around, okay? So, now we have a look at our coupling ring. Make sure that the thread is clean, and also don't forget about this O-ring that I told you about, making sure that it's not damaged in any way and there's no debris on it. So, if that's all okay, don't forget, in order to screw it in, we turn it anti-clockwise. Turn the coupling like that. Once it's in, we just hand tighten it. Remember, we use no spanners at all. It's always hand tightening, because otherwise we might damage that O-ring. Once that's in place, we can turn all the valves on, and then we have a look and check if there are any leaks. We check for leaks, of course, with Afrox safe test, right? If there are any leaks, we need to turn off all the valves, uncouple all the uncoupling rings. Then what we do is we have a look, again, check. The O-ring on this one might be damaged, or there might be some debris on the coupling thread on this one. And what we need to do is we need to phone Afrox, and that's 0860 020202. The number is on this board over here in case you forget. Call Afrox. Don't try and fix it yourself. Okay, guys, it goes without saying. What do we do before we leave this enclosure? We make sure that it's clean and clear of any debris or whatsoever. Okay. We close the door behind us. And what do we do with the gate? We always lock it. There we go. Thanks very much, Dick. Lock the gate. Ready to rock and roll. Let's go cook some steak.
Let us quickly review session 5. What is different in the thread of LP gas cylinder valve coupling?
It has opposite thread, as all cylinders contain inflammable gas. To connect the coupler, turn it anti-clockwise. To unscrew and remove the coupler, turn it clockwise.
How important is it to check the flex hose coupling O-ring for damage before connecting the cylinders?
Very important, because the O-ring is the part that actually forms the seal. If the O-ring is damaged, a gas leak is inevitable.
So guys, this is our last short session. In it, we're going to be covering what to do during emergency procedures. Now guys, emergencies always happen unexpectedly. But if you do your jobs correctly and you stick to the rules, emergencies shouldn't occur. So in order to ensure your safety and that of your colleagues, please follow the correct procedures, even if they seem unnecessary, time-consuming, or boring. Now guys, I'm just going to cover the procedures here. If you want a more detailed description, please refer to your manuals. So, leaks. How do we detect them? Well, we detect them by smell. Always be alert to the sudden, unexpected smell of LP gas in an unusual place. Now, the smell of the gas will be strongest at the source of the leak. So guys, always report leaks, suspected leaks, or the smell of LPG gas in an unusual place to the management, but immediately close the shut-off valve.
You can read about the restaurant's fire drills in your manuals, but just remember, if any of you see a fire in this place, run to the shut-off valve in the kitchen immediately and shut off the gas supply. The important thing about an emergency evacuation is that the last guy to leave must remember to make sure that the main shut-off gas valve is closed before leaving the premises.
Now, obviously, there's not much we can do to ensure that crime doesn't happen, but there are certain things we can do to minimize the risks. Firstly, we can be on the lookout and be vigilant for crime. And secondly, we can make sure that the enclosure where the gas cylinders are located outside is securely locked. So guys, spills. They cause slippery floors. And if people walk on a slippery floor, they'll fall down. And if they fall down in an area where gas fire cooking is happening, it can be very, very dangerous.
We have a work system in place here to ensure that spills are cleared away immediately. That's just to minimize the risks. We also have to make sure that the flexible hoses feeding the cooking appliances are under no circumstances stressed or blocking the walk area or even protruding into it.
Well guys, I think the message here is clear. Emergencies and accidents do happen, but we can be ready for them when they do happen.
Most importantly, when they do happen, always think about what is happening to the gas and what to do to make it safe.
This is our last review, session 6. What should your very first reaction be when you see a fire in the restaurant?
Immediately close the main shut-off valve, raise the alarm, and then inform the manager.
What can be done to avoid anybody tripping over a flexible gas hose?
Ensure that the flex hoses are secured safely and out of the way behind the appliance.
Besides locking up, what is one of the most important tasks of the last person leaving the restaurant at night?
Closing the main shut-off valve.
So guys, that's it. That's about as far as we go with this course. Please don't ignore what you said and what you've learned here today. And if you need a more detailed description, you can always refer to your manuals. Guys, it's in your own best interest to follow correct gas procedures and safety measures at all time. Please learn them and please apply them. And do yourself a favor, watch this DVD at least once a month. Remember, safety is 100% of our behavior 100% of the time. I'll be watching you.